Well, that was not an ideal game one.
No, it wasn't. It felt
Um,
we were chasing the whole time, since the end of since we lost the lead in the first quarter, chasing.
yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel too bad about it until we got to about the midway point through the third quarter, and we were still trailing. We just never kind of made that. Once we really got into the fourth quarter, that's when I was like, okay, like now this is a pretty tough lead to come back from. And we're usually a very good third quarter team. So even going into the second half, I felt pretty good. I was like, okay, well, we're going to be a strong third quarter team. We'll get this game close, headed into the fourth. And then from there, we'll, hopefully just be able to use our depth, use our talent. But a lot of our big guys did not show up. Well, not a lot of our big guys. Our big guys really didn't show up a whole lot.
No,
This was not pretty.
Jalen.
Jalen really,
Yeah,
yeah, Jalen in particular. I mean, he finished with 12 points. I think he had 4 made shots, and he had like 6 turnovers.
yeah, four baskets, 6 turnovers.
Yeah, Tatum wasn't great offensively. I wouldn't really put him to blame for this though. He certainly wasn't that great, but he wasn't terrible. Jalen was the big sore mark on this point. Marcus, I feel like shot a lot of threes, didn't hit very many threes.
Yeah, do you have the number? I didn't pull up the box score. I was going to do that right now.
I don't know if the box score is like going to be available right this second. I had the temporary box score in front of us.
Okay.
Let's see, playoffs does it have? Okay, let me just pull that up. But either way, like I just know we shot a lot of threes. I mean, as a team, we did not shoot the 3 ball well. We shot actually we shot 36%, but we took 53s.
That's a lot.
Now that's pretty crazy, especially because as a team, I wanted to look at this because I thought we were taking a lot of threes. As a team, we averaged 37 3-pointers a game, so we took 13 more than what we normally do, and we played right into the Bucks' hand. That's what the Bucks want to do to us defensively. That's their game plan. Is it seemed like they wanted to try and take the ball out of Tatum's hands and make everyone else just kind of force the 3 ball. They were collapsing hard on pretty much every single drive to the basket. Brook Lopez, I give credit to Brook Lopez where it's due. Like he was phenomenal.
He played so well today. Yeah.
Shout out our old man Al. Al also played incredibly defensively.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Giannis for most of the night. And Giannis didn't have a great game shooting the ball. I mean, he finished with 24 points, but he shot 9 of 25 from the field. Like we'll take that every single day of the week.
100%.
Where was I looking at this? Oh yeah, I was going to look at the Celtics and how many threes that they shot. Yeah, Marcus Smart was 1 for 6 from 3. Not ideal.
Pritchard great.
Yeah. Pritchard, he had a couple wide open. They were really letting him go.
That was the turning point of the game. Like it was the first 5 attempts of the fourth quarter. 4 of them were Pritchard threes, and he was 0 for 4. Like you're when you're down 12 going into, or like down 8 or whatever, it was what? I think it was 12 going into the fourth, or maybe under 10. But you can't let Peyton Pritchard be taking the 4 of the first 5 shots when you have a guy in Jason Tatum averaging 29 points during the play.
I mean, like I said, like we played right into their hand. What they want to do defensively. That's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to get our role player. They wanted our role players to beat us.
Yeah.
They really challenged us to beat them by taking threes. And so we're going to have to get real creative, figuring out to attack that drop coverage because they want us. They want everyone else taking threes. They even were fine with Jalen taking some threes because he really didn't make it hurt too much. He was only 3 for 9.
Hold on.
His dog's fighting?
No, just barking.
Oh.
I'm gonna go step outside.
Okay. No, but overall, like that's just like at the end of the day, like that's just what we did. We need to get creative. We need to figure out a way to not just heave a bunch of threes. Like that's not going to work. Like that's just it's not effective. Clearly,
no, not at all. You said it exactly right. I mean, the Bucks made the Celtics role players beat them, and they didn't. I mean, Derek White the only real contributor off the bench. Grant played well. I mean, 2 for 6 though, 8
Graham
points.
played well defensively though, like
Yeah, fair enough.
so I'll at least give him that. Like at least you're gonna bring on one end where, I mean, Jalen was even getting bullied. Not really his fault. Like Bobby Portis, I felt like had a very good game when matched up with Jalen Brown. Like he was taking advantage of that every time he got him in the post. He was kind of backing him down a little bit and taking that kind of over the shoulder like right hook shot that he's been so good at.
Grayson Allen too. You got to give credit to him as well. I mean, he played
I hate looking at him.
Guy, but I mean, he played a dog of a game. You know, like was out muscling the guys he was on. I think he had 2 offensive rebounds, like 2 massive offensive rebounds throughout the span of that second half. The Celtics got outplayed, and I mean, they had ample opportunity to sort of get back into this game, climbing out of the hole that they dug themselves. But I think that stretch at the end of the first quarter, that's what did it for me. I think. I mean, it was a 10-0 run for the last 4 minutes of the first quarter, and the Bucks didn't trail since. I think.
Yeah, and the Bucks, like this was a sloppy game on both sides. I felt kind of good because Jalen and Jason hadn't gotten started yet, but we were up like 2 points at one point. But they had like 7 turnovers in the first quarter.
Yeah,
ridiculous like that. And I was like, okay, well, on one side, I don't think Jalen and Jason are going to shoot this bad the entire game, but which, I mean, Jalen kind of did. Tatum kind of turned around a little bit. But I was like, there's no way they can keep up with these turnovers. I'm not really feeling super confident right now that they have all these turnovers and they're still right in this game. This was just a sloppy game on both sides. Like both offenses did not look good. Trying to think, the Bucks only shot 41% from the field. Like they didn't really light it up offensively either.
No.
They did score 101 points. I felt like they had a much better second half. I guess not. I guess points wise, but no, this is just an ugly game. Lots of turnovers for both sides. It felt very sloppy. Obviously, 2 good defensive teams. We talked about the Bucks being kind of mediocre during the regular season, but they really turned it up. They used Javon Carter to bring a lot of pressure. They used him to like full court pressure the ball handlers, which I think disrupted the Celtics, kind of threw them out of a rhythm offensively. They couldn't really set up their stuff like they wanted to.
Definitely, and that was from the jump too. Like the first 2 or 3 possessions were tight, where they were pressed offensively, and I think that it set the tone for the game, and I think that's what we're going to see moving forward.
Yeah. I think the Celtics are going to need a comeback game too. They're going to need to, like I said, they need to figure out a way to attack Brook Lopez on drop coverage. They need to find a way to find gaps in that defense because they're not going to allow anything right around the rim. Like they're swarming around the rim, but we can't just settle for taking 3-pointer after 3-pointer. Like we took more 3s than we did 2s, which is kind of an issue, especially because we're not a very good 3-point shooting team. Like we don't really have any guys that are knocked down. Like we hope to rely on Peyton Pritchard and Grant Williams to their shots, and Jason Tatum, of course, and Jalen Brown. But Pritchard and Grant are really the guys like off our bench, like our role players, our non-star players that we really count on for consistent 3-point shooting. And Pritchard today just did not bring it. That guy like him would be able to take advantage of this kind of defense, but he looked out of it. Jalen looks really out of it the entire game, even from the beginning. Like he was just passing up shots. He was just kind of like passing out of shots, which seemed very odd. Something I feel like I haven't seen him doing a ton of. It was just very strange. It looked like they were like scared, especially because he had Giannis on to start. It felt like when Giannis was closing out on him, he'd get nervous and just like kind of throw the ball away when he was starting to go up for a shot.
That happened multiple times. Again, like it kept happening. You're exactly right, and I think it was interesting to see that the report on his hamstring earlier this week that Ime thought he would be good to go, but there was still some concern. I bet that played into it a little bit. I mean, I'm sure he's not at 100%, but he just didn't have that spark at the start of the game today, and it just sort of continued throughout the whole.
Yeah, he looked off, like both mentally and physically.
Definitely, yeah.
Like he just didn't quite look right. But and it stinks. We kind of lost home court advantage with this one. Now it's pretty much even with them. Have a 1 game advantage. Them up 1 game.
Right.
We have 3-3 remaining. And typically the Bucks, they're not really usually a great game one team, but they really came and brought it today. And I think that this is going to be a dogfight of a series either way.
Yeah,
I do think the Celtics will bounce back, but at the same time, like they're the defending champs for a reason. Giannis is Giannis. Even like we said, we were talking about with Jason Tatum, like being able to affect the game no matter what. Like we said, he shot like 36% from the field. Giannis did, but he still had a triple double. He was still affecting the game in almost every way. He was still the best player on the court,
right.
and we just got to continue to hopefully lock him up. We have Al Horford, who's one of the best Giannis defenders possible, and I think that's very important. But we need to figure out a way to continue that high level defense on him, make him uncomfortable, and then on the other side, we need to figure a way to get Jalen and Jason rolling.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think a third thing that definitely needs to happen is the composure needs to the composure needs to settle itself a little bit. I mean, we saw a very physical defense from the jump from the Bucks today, and with Giannis, that foul calls are always going to be contested. He's going to get his free throws, but the mental stability, the mental focus and clarity that comes with a Scott Foster game, Ed Malloy game. We'll probably see those guys again. That needs to stay ratcheted down. It needs to be another priority for the windy day in Pensacola. Yeah. Here, I'll go back inside. Hold on.
Tough battling the elements.
Yeah.
No, but like we said, I think the key to the series is just being able to figure out what we can do offensively to get us in rhythm rather than playing to the strength of the Bucks. I do think the Celtics still have a good chance to win the series because I think they're going to have to depend on – like the Bucks are depending a lot on their role players. I think Drew Holiday, he played much better than I think Drew Holiday typically plays, especially shooting the ball. Unless I'm going crazy, like I never thought of Drew as really great. She was 3 for 5 from 3. I don't think he's going to repeat that. He was 6 for 6 from the line. His offense was huge because, like we said, they're without Middleton, so the impact of him being on the court does make a big difference. Something that's crazy just looking at the box score right now. Javon Carter was a plus 25, a team high in just 21 minutes.
Damn.
So he obviously played a huge impact. And like we said, he was just being a pass. He was put up on Pritchard, and he really made Pritchard uncomfortable. Reminded me a lot of the Summer League Championship when Davion Mitchell was on Pritchard and just like dogging him up and down the court.
Right. No, I think I don't think that Holiday will shoot as well as he did today again. I mean the hot start he got was just great for him. Like it gave him the aggressiveness. I mean, we saw multiple sort of transition threes from him. That's not normally his game, so hopefully that something change. Something the defense changes on him, I guess. But no, it was just a poor shooting day from, like, I think you tweeted it out. Poor shooting day from both guys and both sides. I mean, and that's going to change. So
yeah, I'm hoping we can take advantage of the transition defense. Like the Bucks played really good transition defense today, but also felt like there's a lot of opportunities in transition that we didn't convert on that were like semi-difficult. Like they were layups, but they were like slightly contested. Like they were pretty decently contested layups. You're hoping you can make some of those in the future. Yeah. I don't have too many other takes on this series. I just think we got to regroup and bounce back for game 2. I just like we need to win game 2. We can't fall down 2-0 to the Bucks with them going home. So I think
then go to Milwaukee.
I mean, you don't want to call it a must win, but I think it's pretty much a must win in this situation.
Yeah, I agree totally with you. Can't go to Milwaukee down 2 games. But I've got faith that the guys in the locker room will sort of make a point to be like, it's just one game, I mean, we saw Grant Williams today really take over one of the huddles during I think it was the second quarter. I'm sure that's going to be the case in the locker room. I'm sure Jalen will be vocal. I'm sure Ime and everybody, all these guys, I'm sure that they will have the right things to say. And I think there was a tweet I saw. It was jokingly that it's good that the Celtics played poor like this, so Ime can come out and publicly shame them and maybe light a fire under them because it's worked in the past.
Yeah. I know maybe that'll do the trick.
Yeah, right.
One more thing. Now I think we have at least more film on Brooke Lopez. Like we didn't see them with. I don't believe we saw them with Brooke earlier this year.
Yeah.
Or during the regular season. So I think just having that and knowing what they're going to do with Brooke, we can kind of game plan that a little bit better, seeing how we can take advantage of that. There hasn't been a ton of film on him. I think he only played 12 games in the regular season. Then the 6 games they played, or the 5 or 6 games they played against the Bulls.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a ton of Brooke Lopez. So hopefully just getting more tape on him against the Celtics, hopefully that can help. We can find a little bit of holes and gaps. But obviously, like we said, the two old big men played very well today.
Right.
You got to give credit where credit is due. They came in and they both did their job.
Definitely. And I think we'll see, obviously, like in playoff series like this, game one is a not really a statement game, but a like sort of a feeling out of like other teams' priorities, other teams on both offense and defense, and we'll see a lot of transitions made, a lot of different game plan strategies implemented on Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I wanted to know, obviously Chris Middleton's out of the series. We were getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, a little excited, thinking that this was going to be a little bit of an easy path. Obviously, at least I was thinking it was going to be a little easier than expected. Obviously, Giannis and the Bucks are the defending champs for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But also around the league, we also have Embiid. He's dealing with some stuff. He has a fractured orbital bone, which he's going to be at least out 2 games, which does not bode well for the Sixers, who I think are already a team that really relies heavily on Embiid.
Yeah.
Clearly, as he's the star, probably going to finish number 2 in the MVP voting. But
I think that I was mulling over this take last night at work, but I think the first couple games when Embiid's out will sort of solidify James Harden's playoff legacy. Like if he comes out and wins one of these games by himself without Embiid, or if say he doesn't come back until game 4 or 5 and he goes out and keeps the Sixers alive, I think that it could completely change the narrative of his sort of playoff.
I'll push back a little bit because I still think if they wind up getting eliminated, even if they split the first 2 games and like James Harden plays fine, if they wind up losing a series, I still think the narrative stays like James Harden the playoff choker. I really think you need to have 2 huge games and then them be able to win the series off the back of that to really change the narrative. I think he's gonna have to do a lot more heavy lifting to change the narrative than to he will just keep it as him being a playoff choker. But
yeah, and I think that the on the flip side though, if Embiid's out and they go down, they lose the first 2-3 games, and Embiid's not.
Wrap.
Yeah, like that. It's it. You can't say anything else to me about James Harden.
I mean, because obviously we can say that about Harden, and just with Sixers, like this is not a great matchup for the Sixers because you have probably the guy that's best equipped in the entire NBA to guard Embiid and Bam Adebayo. Mm-hmm. So it creates a lot of issues. I know Kyle Lowry's dealing with injuries, but I think Kyle Lowry is so much less of an impact player on this team. I mean, you can argue he's probably like the 3rd or 4th best player on the Heat, whereas Embiid's far and away the number 1 on the Sixers. So I think the Heat will probably be able to take care of business in that series.
I'm hoping so. I hope it's 5 games. I hope I hope Embiid doesn't come back. Like they're down 3-0 when he misses game.
I think they said game. Did they say game 3 was a possibility? Or did they say game 4 was a possibility? I can't remember.
I know he's not traveling the first 2. Game 3 was the hope, but I mean he also has a concussion and a broken face bone.
Yeah. So I think he'll play as long as he passes concussion protocol. I think he'll just wear the mask, but. Yeah, if he's not able to pass, if it's 3 games, then for sure wrap. Even if it's 2, unless they split, I really don't think they have any chance.
No, I don't either. But the one positive Sixers fans can take out of this is that you'll get a masked Embiid for the playoffs. Like he's gonna lean into that sort of the mask.
And you can kind of lie to yourself a little bit too.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You can
man.
always be like, "Oh, well, if we had Embiid, we would have won the championship. Like, we would have won
Absolutely.
that Heat series." So they can
Sixers.
also lie to themselves there. They have the scapegoat and be like, "Oh, well, we would have won," but
Mhm.
And then out west we have the Warriors and the Grizzlies playing. I think the Warriors are going to dominate it. I just think the Grizz we kind of saw in the Timberwolves series. They just don't look fully ready for a deep playoff run. They're able
Right.
to beat another young team in the Wolves, but I just think the Warriors are going to be they're just going to be ready for this moment. I think the Warriors are going to step up and they're probably going to win this series. I think five or six games. I probably
Yeah,
lean towards
I would say that there's gonna be one like big John Morant, Jaren Jackson game. Like the young guys are gonna show out probably in Memphis. Like game 3, they're probably gonna go pretty crazy there. But yeah, you're right. The Warriors are so poised and they've been there before. This is nothing to them. They've been to they've been to what 5 finals in the last 7 years. So
yeah,
the
something
same
absurd like that.
the same core of guys have made deep runs and have had to beat pesky young teams and savvy veteran teams. Like they're not they're not any
They're fully
slouches.
equipped. They have everything they need. They have the defense, they have the shooting, they have the ball handlers.
Mhm,
They have a couple guys that can switch in and out based on matchups. Like they have Kevon Looney, they can go small with Draymond. Obviously, they have the pool party lineup,
mhm.
um, the kind of new death lineup if they want to go like all offense and go fast.
With Wiggins.
They're a very versatile team. Like I think as it stands right now, like I gotta think they're the favorites right now to win the title, just from what I've seen so far in the playoffs.
At least to come out of the West.
Yeah, at least come out of the West. But
Yeah.
especially with like you don't know like Booker, he looked fine coming back, but you don't know like how he's gonna hold up. You don't know. Chris Paul seems to always
Yeah, Chris
get
Paul is
banged up, and
a big time choke artist too. Like,
yeah, and he always seems to get banged up around this time of year. So you never know what's gonna happen with that.
mhm.
Um, so I don't know. I'm really kind of leaning hard on the Warriors. Like I said, I think a couple. I think last week I said my two favorites right now are probably Warriors Celtics.
Yeah.
Celtics obviously didn't look very impressive today, but the Warriors they obviously haven't played their game. They will have um,
Yeah,
by the
it's
time
live
they
right
will
now.
what
It's live right now.
so they will have, but at the same time, like I feel pretty confident the Warriors that they're going to be able to take care of business in this series. I think the real challenge goes to whatever team they play in the Western Conference Finals, which I do think will be the Suns. Um,
I do
I
too.
unless their health starts to falter in this round, but I just don't think the Mavs have really enough guys to be able to make a deep playoff run.
No, I mean it's just gonna be the Luca show, and I think that uh Phoenix is incredibly well equipped to slow down Luca.
Yeah, you got Mikal Bridges, another guy who's a deep boy candidate. You can throw on Luca. He matches up well, just size wise with him.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
And
so there'll
Joe
be some
Crowder
interesting
is the
series.
best. Like they've got guys.
Yeah, I think that series might drag on a little bit. I think Luca might be able to steal a game or two.
I think so too.
Um, but I do think inevitably it will be the Suns.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Anything else? There's no real big storylines right now. I don't think from the Western Conference of guys getting injured is there.
I'm trying to think. I don't. It doesn't look like it, but
Oh,
yeah,
I just
Grizzlies 25-20 with 2 minutes left.
Grizzlies up 25-20.
Yeah, with 2 minutes in the first.
One thing I did want to note, I just think the Jazz. I think this is the year they blow it up this offseason. I just don't
Oh,
think you keep running it back with this core of players. I think they're gonna have to blow it up. So we'll see probably a new look Jazz next year. We'll see. I don't know. I've heard a lot of Rudy Gobert to Charlotte, which I think would be very interesting. I think he'd fit their team well, or maybe to
I
the
did, I
Hawks.
did see that too. I saw what would the package be? How would I saw a lot of buzz that Golden State wanted Rudy. How would that package work? It would probably be for Wiggins, correct?
Yeah, I think it would have to be money wise because Gobert's on one like a max deal. I don't know
Yeah,
how to work for Charlotte. I'm trying to think who the big money guys are in Charlotte. The only one I can think of, I think Rozier's on a pretty or
Rozier's on a
Gordon
decent
Hayward.
eight.
I
Yeah,
heard Gordon
it's
Hayward. Yeah,
Hayward or Kelly Oubre, like a
I'm
combo of
sure
those.
they'd love Gordon Hayward back in Utah.
Yeah, they would. That would be
Yeah,
big.
and he wants to be a number one option for whatever reason. He's been on fairly successful teams, and he just hasn't been happy that he keeps getting like bumped down to the third, fourth option on his team.
Right.
But, with the NFL draft, did you have any thoughts on the Pats?
Pats are gonna do Pats things. I mean, they definitely drafted on paper the worst like group of guys. Like they didn't address the linebacker position. They added 2 more running backs. Took a flyer on another receiver way too early.
It seems very odd. It seems like they could have probably traded down for all the guys and still gotten them without any real issue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They could have traded back around every time. Maybe their third round cornerback out of Houston is probably their best pick. But he's also, I think I saw it. He was also only like 5'8", 5'9". So
that's tough out of corner.
Not an outside cornerback. Like he's certainly a slot.
Yeah.
Like a dime.
Probably a special teams guy is what it is.
I mean,
no, I heard is that the guy
on the third round?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, yeah, I think like nickel, but also I think he's gonna be big on like they're gonna like use him a lot on special teams. I also heard like he catches passes too, and he was like a pretty good receiver for Houston.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like was used as a slot receiver as well. So they like, I don't know if they plan on using him like multi-dimensionally, like
purpose.
Yeah. I like who the Bills drafted. They got a cornerback, which addresses the need of Pat Mahomes being able to tear them up in 13 seconds. They also got like the best punter like ever, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently he's
Matt Ariza.
Yeah.
He just boots like 80-yard punts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
They took a running back too, correct? Was it Zamir White? No, he went to.
That wasn't him. I can't think of the name. I just didn't care because it was a running back. I just think running backs are like dime a dozen.
Yeah. So you still taking Breece Hall?
Yes, I am. I'm pissed. Like that was like the one team I didn't want him going to. It just doesn't make sense. Like, didn't they draft Michael Carter in like the second or third round like last year?
Fourth round last year, but I mean,
fourth round. Okay, still though, but like he looked promising as a rookie, and they already had him and
I think he had like
Ty Johnson. Ty.
Yeah, Ty Johnson is still on the team.
Yeah, and he was fine. Like I don't know why you draft another runner. I mean the Jets.
Yeah,
I guess I'm gonna go with him. Like I'm not happy that he went there. I would have much rather him go to a better situation.
But what would have been a better situation? Probably would have been Houston. Would have been the only good situation.
Like no, but I mean, like even a place that doesn't have like a guy that they're like committed to like long term, like because I mean I think long term as well. Like I just don't think the Jets are ever gonna be like a good team.
No,
like I would just rather have him like go to a situation like even if it's not like this year, like be able to go to a team that like is able to build an offensive line for him to block so he can like have it. Because I think that's really the big thing is like being able to have the offensive line. Like I think a good running back can only do so much. I think it is way more dependent on your offensive line. And we see, I mean, I think Zeke's a good example of that when the Cowboys line was cooking, he was putting up huge numbers.
Yeah. Then when everybody's hurt, he's slowing down.
Yeah. I think you're such a product of your offensive line in the NFL, especially as a running back.
And also game script. It's the Jets too, like they're
gonna be behind.
Yeah,
but he's a decent pass catcher. It seemed to look like just to look on his stats. So I think I'm gonna go with him. At very worst, I don't know. He's got the talent, but I have plenty of picks. So I'm not too worried.
No, you're not. I saw you did your little exodus today. You
sent
out the guys in preparation for the draft.
I just got my fourth string tight end. I was very upset about that, but
I was trying to work something out for you for like a second or third.
Yeah, I'm willing to give up like a second or third because I have a lot of spots, but like it needs to be for the right price. I'd kind of like, I guess some deals. We can float some deals later.
Yeah.
Last things we talked about. Yeah, I mean, pretty much hit everything. Red Sox aren't very good.
No, the Red Sox blew it last night in horrendous fashion. Did you see that?
Yeah, they're losing to Baltimore right now.
Yep.
Yeah, so not great. But I'll probably start fully paying attention then once the Celtics are over. Right now, I'm pretty much focused on the season. It seems like they always play at the same time. Like when the Celtics do have games, it seems like the Red Sox are always playing like right around the same time, which gets annoying. But
it's strange too. But they're not. I guess they're not in Boston because I thought usually the Garden and the Sox do a good job of sort of separating those games, like game time, game start, when they're both in town. So
it just it's. I mean, I'm not gonna probably pay attention to them. Like I said, they'll probably like mid-June, so they got a little bit to figure it out since then.
Yeah,
but.
The last teams that were the teams that were in the World Series last year both started 7-10. Sox started 7-10 as well.
It's a good sign.
Yep.
I mean, really, MLB playoffs is the most just like who's hot at the right time. Like that's what the MLB playoffs is.
Who's got 2 hot starters and 2 hot relievers? Like,
yeah, and whose bats are cooking. Like that's
you need 2 guys to be hitting 400 in the playoffs, 2 starters and 2 relievers to be hot.
Yeah. And reliever is something that I don't know. I think we're gonna need to make a move for reliever because it seems like we're not gonna have 2 guys that can really rely on.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I have. I don't have any. I'm gonna watch Doctor Strange too. Maybe I'll give a quick teaser next week. I'm gonna watch it on Friday. So
Gotcha. Okay, I was gonna watch The Northman this week.
I've heard that's very good. So I think it'd be
I've heard it's good. I've also heard it's fucking weird.
I heard that it helps to have a little bit of Norse mythology background. I heard that they wanted kind of like originally it's supposed to be very heavy in Norse mythology.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they toned it back, so like people aren't going to understand. But I guess there's still a lot of stuff that like if you're somewhat familiar with Norse mythology, it like kind of it makes it a little bit cooler for you. But I've heard it's very good.
Yeah, I have too. I'm excited. Maybe I'll brush up, do a quick little Wikipedia run through on some Norse history.
Yeah, we can give quick no spoiler trailers next week, and then maybe we'll get a chance to watch it the following week, and then we can fully discuss the week after people get a chance to watch.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll see you next week, pal. Hopefully the Celtics are in a much better shape at this point next week.
Well, we'll only have one game except because they play Tuesday, Sunday.
Yeah, but we'll be able to. We'll probably it's not gonna be a late game Sunday.
I think it's at 3:30.
Yeah, so we can record. I'd much rather record after, like get the game reaction.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hopefully we're up 2-1 at that point.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
it's a plan.
See you, pal.
See ya.